All right, so I've got Justin Brooke here from AdSkills.com, and I would say he's anybody on the planet, he's the first person I can think of who's been in the trenches, has taken the Google AdWords platform, Google Ads Now platform, from display, pay-per-click, YouTube ads, and been in the trenches and developed so much mastery over the years that I just don't have anybody else I can really compare him to when it comes to somebody that truly deeply understands the whole thing, not only how to get into the bells and whistles and set up the campaigns and structure things inside the ads platform, but also understanding what creative works the best and what makes the biggest impact. It seems to me like, especially in the Facebook ads world, usually you got somebody they're either really good at just running the ads and they don't understand the power of the creative, or you got other people vice versa. And so from my perspective, you kind of really understand both sides of things. So for me, maybe give me your overview of what works best specifically for YouTube, and anything you want to give on the display side, or if there's some important things that you feel are necessary if you're going to launch YouTube that you have displayed to complement that. But in terms of the high level strategy, and then I've got a few questions for you for some of the nuanced things like some campaign structure and
Sure.
stuff like that. So in general, like and also maybe the high level strategy you see working best, and some of the mistakes that you see people making when they want to jump into that platform on YouTube and Google.
Okay. So you want to just start with the ad creative on YouTube?
Yeah, let's go there for sure.
Okay. So I like to start with a script first. If you look at any big YouTuber,
yep.
They look like they're just so smart. They're just reading it, or not even reading it, but it doesn't even look like they're scripted or anything. But Linus Tech Tips, all the biggest YouTubers out there, they start with like a storyboard, a script, and then they go and shoot their videos. And so I like to start there as well. Hollywood, they always start with a script. Anybody who is good at creating any type of video always starts with a script. And that allows you to have, like you said, that one ad, that one message, and then you can create a bunch of other variations of that ad so that you can kind of appeal to different, to the pleasures, to the frustrations, to people who like a talking head video versus people who like a doodle video, but it's all still the same message. And that's important because we know that we need to be split testing. We know that we need to have one message, try it, and then be able to mold it as we go to get a little better as we go along. So I like to start with one script. And then I also like to have two other pieces of the script. So you have like your intro and your outro, but then you have your body of the script. And that allows you to kind of make it look like you have multiple scripts, but you have the same script with a few different ways of starting and ending it when you do that. So if you take these three, if you have 2 intros, 2 outros, okay, that's going to give you 3 different scripts that you can use. Even though you're still using the same message, you're hitting the same hot buttons, you're hitting the same frustrations, all that stuff, it's going to allow you to look like you have 3 different messages. Then you're going to take a couple different modalities. Okay, when I say modalities, I mean like kind of visually what you're looking at. So I like to have one that's a doodle version, one that's a talking head version, and then I like just a text, like an old VSL. That's working really well for me. Just a very simple VSL style. It's just plain screen with words. My grandmother calls them videos that read to you. She don't know what a VSL is, but she loves them. She's like, yeah, I love them videos that read to you. So, Yeah, those are so if you have kind of three scripts because you have those intros and outros, and then you have three different visual styles, now you can create 9 video creatives all on the same message, which
Right.
allows you to kind of the algorithms today. I come from the old school way where like you just have that one ad and you just let that thing run
Yeah.
forever, and you can still kind of make that work on display. But on a lot of the newer things, not that YouTube's newer, but like YouTube and Facebook are really trying to lead the way, Instagram as well. And so they're very algorithm driven. We're seeing it come into Google as well. And the algorithm wants lots of creative,
Yep. Yep.
and so you got to feed it. But then we as direct response marketers, and also small businesses, let's be honest, video is expensive to create. We're
Yeah.
not creating text ads. Video, even if you're doing it yourself and you learn how to do all the editing and all that stuff, it's still expensive in time.
Yeah. Big
And
time.
so we as direct response marketers know that we need to be testing like one message and refining it until it's perfect. And then as small business owners, we know we need to manage our costs. We can't just go whip up a Harmon Brothers video 9 times. I love those guys, but what they do is a very special thing that they do.
It's $100,000 to $1 million to get a video produced by them now. So
Right.
it ain't no.
And that's, they're amazing, but you
Yeah.
can't just whip 9 of them up.
Right.
So what are you going to do if you're not a Harmon Brothers, if you're not a big business, if you're a restaurant trying to make it or an ad agency trying to make it? This is kind of a formula that I've come up with to allow me to create 9 videos, roughly about $100 a piece. Depending on time, labor, how much your guy costs you versus my guy, whatever. It's pretty cheap. You can get these videos created between 100 and 250 bucks. So here you go. You start with one script. You're going to want an outro and intro and an outro on there. So you might have one intro that leads in with humor. You might have one intro that leads in with the classic stop. If you're having this problem, I've seen your stop ad. And then you might have one that leads in with a little bit of controversy or a pattern interrupt or something like that. There was an old VSL that made millions and millions of dollars. And the way that it started was, this is a goldfish. If you don't want to be like this goldfish or something like that, I forget what they said, but it was like, it's so weird. It's a pattern interrupt. They say, this is a goldfish. You want to hear the next sentence.
Right.
So why are you showing me, it could be anything. This is a
super
pretzel.
random. Yeah. Out of the blue, it doesn't fit in.
Right. This is a mailbox. Whatever. And then you're going to connect your story to that weird thing. So a mailbox could be like, would you like to receive checks in the mail? Whatever. So anyways, you have these 3 different, you write your one script, and you're going to want your script to match up to your sales page. I'm not saying take your whole sales page and put in a script, because these videos, I find these videos should be about 90 seconds long. And if you're doing it right, then you have about 30 seconds to talk about the problem, about 30 seconds to agitate, like what other problems happen in your life because of this problem, and then the solution, and then you want to take them over. So you're not taking your whole sales page and bringing it over, but you want the messaging to match, because you want the scent trail, like whatever messaging you're selling them there. If they go to the sales page and it's a whole different messaging, you're going to lose the person. So you're going to take some of that messaging from your sales page and boil that down into like a 90-minute summary of your sales messaging.
Okay.
So then, you come up with that script, and then you're going to have your different intros, outros, and then you're going to have your 3 different styles. You got your talking head, you got your VSL, you got your doodle, and voila. You got 9 different creatives. And here's another thing, don't start with 9.
Exactly.
You start with the one, and then get that up. And while you're waiting for the results to come in from that one, create number 2, get that one up. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to create all 9 on the first get through.
And you could do one that, maybe you talk into the monitor or something because you've got a script, and maybe you've got you use your webcam literally, and you have one of those online teleprompters or something. You wrote up a script, or maybe you've got a script that you're kind of, you can do chunks of. People think they have to record it all at once. You don't. A lot of the YouTubers, I like that example for script, because a lot of the YouTube creators, okay, there are people you might have 1 million subscribers or 2 million subscribers. A lot of times these guys are using scripts. They're reading just like somebody when you watch the news channel, right? CNN or Fox News or MSNBC, they're using scripts every time. A lot of the YouTubers, they might do part of it and they'll cut, and they'll do another section of it, and they'll do another section, but they just edit it all back together, and
right.
They're not.
It looks like one smooth take, but they were doing it like 8 to 12 seconds at a time.
Yeah, exactly. So you could do that, and then you could literally go to Fiverr or Elance or Upwork, I guess, and then find somebody to turn that into something else. And so there's other ways to do it too, just to get it started. Maybe it's in front of a whiteboard, but okay. I like that. In terms of the length, we've seen some now on YouTube, on Facebook. Ideally, if we can get under 2 minutes, especially because of the placements, is so important. So we can get into Instagram until they open up IGTV, which I think they are going to be doing that soon. But you've got to be under 2 minutes. We have seen some cases where longer videos can outperform long runs if it's done right and you have a lot of value, especially in the back end.
I ran one that was 55 minutes long.
Really?
Yeah. And we were getting the entire view. Now this one didn't end up working. The ad worked. The product was not working, but we were able to get people to view the entire 55-minute thing. So 100% playthroughs for $1.50. You can't get clicks for that much these
exactly
days.
Most people are getting like $3 clicks or $4 clicks on Facebook, let alone 90-minute or 55-minute views for $1.50. It's if you look at retention chart, like you'll see that it always drops and you get down to about 5% after 30 seconds or so. But typically, you'll have 3 or 4% of people that will watch it all the way, no matter how long it is. But that's not always the case. So, but there's a sweet spot. So for sure, and it's that around that. Okay, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Minutes.
So long, short. People always ask me how long do they need to be. It needs to be as long as it needs to be.
Exactly.
You're going to have to test. And long has worked, short has worked. Right now, I'm relying on these like 90-second-ish ones because they work everywhere. I can put it on Instagram. I can put it on Facebook. I can put it on YouTube. Right now, for me, it's about managing the cost of video ads. I'm a text ad guy. I'm an image ad guy. Even my image ads, I make them look like text ads, and so I like to create very cheap ads because I don't want to blow my profits in the ad creation, side of things.
Okay. I like it. Cool. Okay. So awesome. So, okay. So that's in general, the creative so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So if you go into, is there anything else you want to kind of hit on that or, and by the way, I didn't really mention this at the beginning, so I can put this back, but basically, I mean, experience wise, when I was kind of introing you, for people that don't know, I mean, you've been doing this for number one a long time, but you've got some big numbers. Like you've run some campaigns up to like hundreds of thousands of purchases per day. Give me some of those numbers and like overall, just so people can get a perspective of what we had here.
I like to be more humble, but I'll do like 30 seconds. I've done, my record leads in a day was 17,253. On average, it was more like 12 to 15. We had that one peak that day. My record clicks in a day was a little over 100,000 clicks in one day. Spent tens of millions of dollars, been doing this 15 years. All these little victories are cool, but it's just part of doing this for a long time.
Cool. Okay, so now when it comes to going into YouTube and Google, let's call, but Same thing, because if you're running
Yeah.
YouTube ads, you're in the Google Ads platform. So
Yeah.
I know that you've got a few different pillars. So we've got one question that people have is campaign goal. So tell me the similarities that you've seen with Facebook in terms of the using the sales goal compared to maybe the generic one where you don't choose one, or leads versus sales, or do you guys typically, if you can, optimize on sales like we try to do on Facebook?
I'm always trying to get to CPM. Okay. What I mean by that is you want to start when you don't know what's working. You don't want to be running your ads with the reach objective. Okay. Because you're just going to, it's like you're starting with a turd. Okay. And if you use the reach objective, you're just throwing your turd as far as you can,
Right.
And so until you've got this thing kind of molded and polished, then you don't want to be really showing it to a whole lot of people. So you want to start with the conversion objective because you kind of want to slow things down a little bit, and you want to be making sure it's making sales. Now, here's the thing. Who else wants to run on the conversion objective?
Everybody.
Everybody, right? Everybody, and so it's the natural law of supply and demand. If you're going to run on the conversion objective, you're going to pay the most. Now they make it. They have done the cleverest trick that ever happened in advertising. Well, most recently in advertising was when Google invented pay-per-click. It's still not pay-per-click. It's a little math trick that they do in the interface that makes you feel like you're paying per click. You're always paying CPM.
Right.
When they tell you you're paying per sale, when they tell you you're paying per download, per click, you're always paying CPM. The advertising world always works on eyeballs, on impressions. That's just, it's always worked that way. It's going to work that way until, I don't know, maybe we are reaching points in technology where, like some of the server side stuff that's coming out, I don't want to get all geeky, but it may change. But right now, definitely in the next 2 years and all throughout history, it's always been impression. And so what they do is they just look at how many impressions you got and then how many clicks you got from that. And then they just do the math and say, okay, here's what you paid per click. But to them, they're banking on impressions. Because listen, Facebook doesn't sell clicks.
No.
They sell views. Right. Yeah. They have views of ads and videos in YouTube and banner impressions. That's all they have. And so the publisher earns a little bit from it. That was the great thing Facebook did. There was no publisher they had to pay. Where Google, they have to pay USA Today a little bit. They have to pay Wall Street Journal a little bit when they run an ad on there, and Google only takes a little bit. So anyways, you're always paying on impression. Okay. And so when you're starting out, it's best. It's safest to start on a conversion. But then what I like to do is from there, I want to move it from a conversion goal. Once I get my message dialed in and I really like it and I want to start saving some costs, I'm going to walk it out to some more scalable, because when you're doing conversions, what it's doing is the algorithm is calculating millions of data points and it's trying to show your ad to the people it thinks most likely to convert. And so you're not running on the whole pool. You're putting in that audience, and the audience size says it's 5 million or 50,000 or whatever, but you're not actually showing to that whole audience. The algorithm is choosing who to show it to. That's how the whole conversion thing works and why there's algorithms and machine learning. And if you want to be able to show to the whole audience, you got to move to a reach objective. And so I kind of scale out that way, and I'll start on conversion, and then I'll work to traffic. Then I might work to engagement. Then I'll work to reach. And when you're at reach, now you're paying on impression, and you can pay a lot less because the ad network can sell you everything it's got. It's not trying to make money off of this the tip of the iceberg of the audience. Now it can make money off the whole thing. And so that's kind of the
it's
way
so
that I do it.
interesting that you're explaining it this way, because from my world in the Facebook world, and it's something that I really have started explaining it better in this last year, but it's the strategy that we've always kind of used and recommended all of our best case studies over the years. I had a challenging time getting my former agency partner to really implement this with our clients, but a lot of our this is what I talk about, the one good ad, and then I develop it out, and I've got these layers, and I call it performance branding, and I explain, I'll draw out the audience, and I say, you might have an audience of 1 million people here, and if you're only using one objective like conversions, then you have a sliver of people. You might have 5% of people that are in market, and it's only targeting a certain percentage. And if you're only using one modality, now you're talking about people that only read and don't watch videos and are in market. And so you're targeting, the top percentage of that. But if you want to start hitting other great audiences within one given audience, you've got to start going wider with the campaign objectives, but don't do it right away. Because that's what some people do, is they're like, okay, let's do this. And this is what all the Facebook reps suggest, is they're like, you need to start with video views, and then you need to retarget people with conversions. The problem is those people that are in the video views objectives probably aren't ready to buy anyway in the next 2 or 3 days. So you have to look at that as more money that you're sort of investing, and hold off, get going first with conversions, which is exactly what you're recommending, which I love, and then work your way up to the branding or out to some of these other objectives slowly, because it might take a longer time for them to convert. But if you're looking at it that way, and the thing is the impressions themselves 10 times cheaper typically, right? When you start to go there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
ROI lower. So you have to look at your budgets and adjust that, but the impressions can be 10 to 20 times cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay.
And so when you get to that point of your landing page is really dialed in, your ad messaging is dialed in, and you now know that this video works better than that video, and this call to action works. But when you get to those points, you can start scaling out to the cheaper objectives, which get you out to more people. And then you're starting to look at things at a whole. When we first started marketing our free book offer, we had to be very meticulous about how we did it. But now we know that as long as we're under $50, then we're good. And so it doesn't matter what objective type I look at. I just look at the end of the day, how many sales did we get and how much did it cost us? Okay, well, I can break that down, and I know that it's working, and now I'm able to reach so many more people. And so everybody right now, they're trying to scale this, and this is why some people, it's working at $10 a day, and they're like, wow, this is great, I want more of this, and they go to $100 a day. The costs go up because, guys, it's inventory. They gotta, you were at $10 a day and you're asking for conversions. You're telling the network, hey, listen, I want the best of what you got. I only want to be paying for sales. And the network says, okay, we got that. We got this little sliver of people that we can deliver to. And there's only so much of that inventory available. And so it's not that there's no other buyers. It's just, it's a little different in how to reach those buyers. And if you only want conversion, well, then I need to use this because I only have data on this. And so when you go from $10 a day to $100 a day, they got to get more impressions somewhere. And so they can't use this little sliver. They got to add on to that. And that's why your costs just go haywire. And you just need to calm down for a few days and let things work itself out, and not just react to those bumps.
Okay. Perfect. Makes perfect sense. Love that. Okay. So what about when it comes to structuring? Yeah, go ahead.
There was one more thing I wanted to talk about on the creative side before we move on.
Yeah.
So it's the script. You have a couple different all that stuff that I said, but then there's a few little tactics you can do, especially on YouTube.
Okay.
So on Facebook, no matter where you're at, if you're on your tablet, if you're on your phone, if you're on your computer, the Facebook ad unit is always clickable. I watch YouTube from my PlayStation in my bedroom. And then upstairs, I'm watching YouTube from my smart TV that has a little YouTube app on it. You know, the kids hate it because I keep doing this joke, but people will be like, just click here. So I'll walk over to the TV and I'll tap on the TV. I can't click here, guys. I can't.
Right.
And it's funny. It's a dad joke, whatever. But it's an important marketing lesson to realize when you're running YouTube ads is a lot like TV. It's on the internet, so it's still very trackable. They have all those interest targeting, so we get the best of both worlds, okay? Because we can run ads basically on people's TVs, but we can also have all that tracking and targeting that we love. But you have to realize that when you're doing YouTube ads, it's not always clickable.
Right.
So there's a few tactics. There's 4 tactics. I hope I remember all 4 here.
Okay.
The first one is link in the description.
Okay.
Make sure you mention in your video. Also, it's become so prominent for YouTubers to say link in the description that most, you know, unless you're really new to YouTube, like my grandmother might not know that the link is in the description, but generally anybody who's watched YouTube for more than a month or two, you know, in the description is where they usually put all the links. Okay. So you want to just mention it in your video. Hey, you know, you can go to adskills.com/whatever, but also the links in the description.
Okay.
Okay. That's the first thing you want to make sure you do. Second thing you want to make sure you do is have a, I believe they call it a lower thirds. I don't feel like it's ever a third. It's like a fifth of the screen. Why do they call it a
takes
third?
up like the center, and it's like
yeah. So whatever it's called. It's that little bar at the bottom where you have your call to action. Some people like to have it show up at specific times because they feel like it's going to be more persuasive if they hide it for. I run the thing the whole time. You know, for me, my philosophy in sales is I believe at any given time, somebody's ready to buy right away. And then some people need a little bit more pushing, you know, and so I'm just going to run my little, you know, call to action the whole time because I'm not going to try and magically guess when somebody's going to be ready. I'm just going to leave it there the whole time. So
just for clarity, the lower third is going to be different than the that's going to be something you're going to create in YouTube, not in AdWords, correct?
Yes, or you can overlay it right in your video editing, but these days YouTube does give you the ability to put that in post, which is sometimes better because that's changeable on the fly, you know, because if like right now I have like hundreds of videos that are baked into the video editing and I can't change the landing page or whatever, you know, but if I had done it in YouTube, then I could change it right now. So that's something to consider. Okay. So link in the description and then the CTA. The other one is you want to make sure that it's really easy. It's memorable.
Okay.
So I'm not going to use like adskills.com/retargeting-recipes-justin-brooke-free-book. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm probably just going to truncate it to adskills.com/free. I don't think there's anything there, so don't go there. But I'm just trying to let you know, you know, I used to use /go. I use /go/free/join. That way it's very easy for them to remember.
Yep.
Because remember, they were about, especially on YouTube, they were about to watch a different video. They still want to watch that video. Your ad was good. You sold them, but they still want to watch, you know, Jack Black beat Red Dead Redemption 2 or whatever it was that they were watching on there, you know. So you have to make sure that, you know, 1, your link is in the description. 2, that you have an overlay somewhere on the screen that's showing it, but also that it's very memorable because chances are they're going to go watch that other video that they wanted to first, and then they're going to go and look you up. And so you want it to be memorable for them so that they can go to Google. I like to follow it up with a little branded search ad. You know, that helps make sure that when they Google it, because sometimes they'll be like, oh, it was AdSkills book, you know, even though it was free, but they don't remember. They just remember I talked about a book and then my company was AdSkills, you know, and so you want to make sure you have that little branded search. Okay, so that's the third thing. Fourth thing, this one's optional, but if you really want to squeeze the most juice out of your video ad, have a text call to action. You know, text free book to 41345, which
Okay.
that helps them, because remember, they want to watch that video. They still want to be on YouTube. They're in their YouTube time. You know, maybe they're eating a little bowl of soup and they're on lunch and they're watching YouTube and your ad showed up to them. Their life is happening and your ad jumps into their life, okay? But then you have a text call to action, so they don't need to change their tablet or their laptop or
Love that.
their TV from the YouTube. They can just on their phone, they can write that text in and keep going. So
Okay.
these are the little tactics that we do to try and help get that click on YouTube when the click isn't always possible.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. No, it's huge, especially the little text message thing. That's money. Okay. So you got
Yeah.
basically link in the description. Make sure you have the lower third. Some people like to, you know, have it show up later, like the whole call to action on a sales video. But these days, I think I agree. You know, have it shown the whole time is totally fine, especially when you're being authentic and stuff. So easy and memorable URL, and then an optional. Also follow up with a branded search ad, either your brand and or maybe your name if you're a personal brand. And then optional, you know, have them text something so you got a URL and a text message so they can just boom, do it from their phone and write it down. Okay. I like that. Cool.
Yep.
Okay. So one of the things that people have had, a lot of people that have started to run YouTube ads have had a challenge with is like, okay, I'm optimizing on purchase. Maybe I have a free plus shipping offer. Maybe I've got a digital book that's $7 or $9, and we're scaling it out on Facebook. We're spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a day. We go to YouTube and we're not seeing success, and it's following a similar formula for the creative. It's a 90-second, 2-3 minute video giving value. Is it chances are they're trying to go too broad in some of the targeting? They're getting impatient. They're trying to, not get enough data with the AI with maybe some of the smaller placement. Tell me about what your thoughts are, and John, how do you how somebody kind of ramp up a campaign maybe with a new campaign or new offer?
Yeah. So with YouTube, a lot of people inherently go to keywords. Just
Okay.
Google. Like a lot of people just still have this stigma that Google equals keywords, Facebook equals interests. It's yes, that both of those things exist, but these platforms are not limited to that. I learned from the six-pack shortcut guys who have spent just tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars. I mean, they compete with like Nintendo and Disney at the level of ads and views that they get. And so I always look for like who's the monster, and can I happen to pay them to show me what they're doing, and I did. And I was in Austin, and I got to get a little coaching from those guys. And so the biggest thing I learned from those guys was to target by channel. So a lot of people, what I see most people doing is they come onto YouTube and they realize, oh, I can run my ad on specific videos. And they think about how laser targeted that is that you can run on this specific video. Well, the problem with that strategy, yes, it's great, but the problem with that strategy is all these videos have kind of a life cycle, and it's a curve. So the guy launches the video, he gets a lot of views, and then over a week or so, it starts coming back down in views because it's not in the search engine anymore. It's not new anymore. So you never know where you're at in that bell curve. If you happen to target that video at the early stage, yeah, you're going to be able to run your ads and get a bunch of views. But if you target it at the late stage, you're targeting all these super relevant videos, but then you're wondering why you're not getting enough impressions. And it's because you're running on videos that are just not getting a lot of views anymore. And then with keywords, Google was always super relative about their keywords, but in YouTube, it means a lot of different. If you are bidding on tomato growing in YouTube, your ad could be shown on like gardening. You know,
Right.
it's not very specific. It's more of a theme. You know, so you say, I have a tomato growing product, and I want to, whenever somebody searches tomato growing in YouTube, I want to show up on those videos. They're going to be like, yes, but also gardening and cucumber growing and tomato pasta. And, you know, like they're going to, you know, add in more impressions and stuff like that. So that's why per channel works out well, because you get that you can be running on their newest videos. That's at the beginning of the bell curve. And you can be running on their really targeted videos that are at the end of the bell curve. You're running on the whole channel. And so I was once managing a political offer and able to run ads on the White House YouTube channel. It don't get more targeted than that, and you don't get more traffic than that, you know. And so I like to, and so I'll break it up. I'll do like you know, one ad group is like guru channels, you know, and when I say guru, it could be news,
Yeah.
media, you know, whatever, like
It could be
people.
CNN.
Okay?
It could be Frank Kern.
Yeah, right, yeah. And then I'll do another group that is like you know, product channels. And then I'll do another group that's like learning channels, you know. And so each niche has different categories of channels, but just know that you don't want to put all the channels in one ad group. You'll want to kind of chop it up, categorize it. I like to have, you know, 3 to 5 categories. That way I can know, like, is this working better on the expert channels, or is it working better on the book review channels, or is it working better on
Software or
the
something.
software channels, you know,
Okay.
that kind of stuff.
Okay. So basically, and let's say that's in that case that we're targeting channels mostly, and we got let's say 3 or 4 or 5 ad groups that have kind of a generic. So one ad group is we've got groups of gurus or experts, and one of them maybe we have like I said, software or products or something like that. And then what about, so when it comes to let's say the ad, so let's say you've got your 9 videos, or yeah. So how would you put those in 9 within that one ad group? Is that how you kind of do it? Or would you say, how do you typically do that?
Yeah. So I like to run, you know, I'm obviously, like I said, I'll start with 1.
Yeah. Maybe 3 or 4
know,
initially or something.
Yeah, right. I'll start with, and the other thing is I like to break my campaigns up by people, or like very different mindsets. So you have mobile. I treat tablet and computer the same. You know, you can do just about the same stuff. People don't really have a problem with
Okay.
order forms on tablets. You know, it's harder when it's on the phone. The phone is very different. Okay. You know, I'm rarely sitting in my car using my tablet, but I can almost anytime I'm a passenger, I'm on my phone. You know, that's the difference. Is when I'm on my tablet, I'm like, I'm out at a bookstore, I'm
Right.
at my house, I'm on my couch. You're in a different mindset. So that's what I'm thinking about in campaigns. You know, male versus female. The way the male buys versus the way the female buys is totally different mindsets. You need to speak to them differently. If somebody's on a mobile phone versus on a laptop, totally different mindsets. You know, the mobile phone person could be in the bathroom. You know, you don't know. I mean, they could be in line somewhere. They could be on an airplane. You don't know. And so that's how I break up my campaign. So I'll take the one video.
Interesting. Okay.
I might have 2 or 3 campaigns. And in those 2 or 3 campaigns, I'm going to have those same siloed ad groups of the channels in categories. Okay. And then as I make more creative, I'm going to put all the same creative in all of the ad groups in all of the campaigns.
Okay. I like that too, because it's how it gives the algorithm more to work with. So they can
It gives the
do
algorithm more to work with, and then it's more scientific.
yeah. I've seen some people recommend having one ad one video per campaign. I think, which can be really scientific, but then you turn into having just millions of campaigns and not really letting the algorithm do its thing, right? You lose on the.
So absolutely, if you want to get the absolute most ROI out of it, there's a lot of work you can do. But I find there's a kind of a drop-off point to the value that you're going to get back out of it.
Yep.
You know, you might squeeze out a little bit extra, but you're not really going to be moving the needle. So in the beginning, I start out this way, and then, you know, by the end, like for instance, my best campaign where we got up to, you know, we were doing 800 sales a day for a client. We started with one campaign. By the time we were done, there was something like 96 different campaigns running. But that's over months of time and lots of, so you get there, but you don't start there.
Perfect. Okay. I like that. Okay. So interesting, because you have and then with the TV, you probably, in most cases, unless you've got a client that really has a huge young audience, I guess, you pretty much just exclude like the television stuff because of that. Like the call to action is so almost impossible to click. Most
what
cases,
do you mean?
In terms of the device, right? So you've got, what is it? Is it called television maybe? Or is it TV?
I don't, because the way that I run. So here's another little trick.
Okay.
And this is the thing, you know, the four. I don't invent this stuff. I look for the best of the best. I learn from them, and I try to get it out there, you know. And so my former business partner was a Googler and worked in the YouTube ads department. And so he taught me this trick of using a separate URL. If you really want to do the best at YouTube, you will notice when you run YouTube ads for people, they will all of a sudden become SEO experts. Because what's happening is people are watching the YouTube video and then they're going and Googling the product. And so you start running a YouTube ad for somebody, and then all of a sudden that client's SEO guy is claiming all your sales. He's like, look at how good our SEO is doing. Right. But you can turn your ads off, watch his go down, turn your ads on, watch his go up. Like you know, I've seen this, I've proved it. That's how I've proved it to other clients who didn't believe me. I was like, okay, well, watch. We'll turn it off and on every 2 days, and I bet you'll see a little sawtooth happen in your analytics. So to combat that, I will tell them, look, domains are $9.99. Okay, so let's create another domain name. So maybe we'll have getadskills.com. Okay, and then we'll duplicate this funnel over. If you're using WordPress, it's as simple as a WordPress, you know, extraction and upload, and these things are not that hard. And if you want, you can just duplicate the landing page. So you just duplicate it over a new URL, and now you're doing those same 4 tactics on the video, in the description, overlay, text, all that stuff. Now everything, you know that only YouTube is driving to this URL. So all your sales are going to be from your YouTube ads. You know,
I like it.
So it's an extra little trick that'll help.
Okay. I like that. It's so because all the tracking stuff, it's like, I agree. Sometimes it's just like, you've got all these people with these third-party tools that are trying to help you, you know, be able to measure everything. What we do is standard. It's just like, dude, 3 landing pages, 1 for YouTube, 1 for Facebook, Instagram, and 1 for email. And then you
can't mess it up.
Yeah.
You know, before, you know, here's the thing. Before there was pixels, I was running Facebook ads before they had a tracking pixel. You had to use your own tracking link, you know. And I remember when all the pixel stuff came on, and it was actually a pixel. Now these days it's a JavaScript. It's not even really a pixel, but we still call it that. So before all that, that's what we did. You would just buy multiple, you know, URLs, or you would use different landing pages, or you'd use different discount codes at the end of your call to action, and that's how you would track it. And, you know, as far as technology has come, I've not seen them beat the old ways.
Yeah.
You know, you got to work so hard, and then these things break. You know, all of a sudden the tracking tool's not working, or somebody moved the pixel, or, you know, privacy wars happen. You know, like, If you just stick to the old way of having separate dedicated landing pages or URLs for it, it's infallible.
Money. Okay. So good stuff. So the keywords question about a couple questions around targeting. Can you tell me the difference between using keyword targeting in a YouTube campaign or display compared to in a pay-per-click campaign? Is it the same or is keywords different in display or YouTube?
In search, look, everybody's always trying to give you more inventory. Okay.
Right.
The advertising world is, it's slick. They want to slip in stuff to you. It's getting better, but at its heart, everybody's always trying to sell you more inventory.
Right.
Okay. So it used to be when you ran Google search and you said, I want to bid on tomato growing, that it was just tomato growing. It's just, if somebody typed in tomato growing, that's the only way they saw your ad. And then Google got clever and came up with broad match, phrase match, exact match, and so that they could start selling you more inventory. Because broad match means that you could show up for tomato, you could show up for growing, or you could show up for tomato growing, or you could show up for growing tomatoes. And so and so if you don't know how to put it in broad, phrase, and exact match, you could show up for different things. Okay. And then even today, they're doing these new like search intent audiences where it's like this person searched this, but then they searched other things. And so you're showing up, but because they searched this thing before, we know that they're still the same person. They're always trying to sell you more inventory, try to be as exact as you can. But so in search, it's the most exact in the search. And if you want, you can put these, just Google it, broad match modifiers, exact match modifiers. It's quotation marks and brackets. You can put brackets around it to make sure only when they search this thing. In display and YouTube, you can't. Throw all that out the window. Okay? They don't do that. It's
they're more
silos.
Like interests, right? They're more like interests.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. They are interest. That's the better way to think of them, as interest. It's somebody with a tomato growing interest. It's somebody, because yes, technically you're going to show up. So display, it would show up on a page that has the phrase tomato growing on it. But Google knows that if they're on a page about hydroponic equipment, it's probably the same thing. And so when you're creating your keyword list for display and for YouTube, you want to be thinking in topics, and you want to narrow the topic for Google. You can't narrow it down to one word. Don't try, but you can narrow it into, like, I'll have one that's all tomato growing, and then I'll have one that's all like hydroponic, and then I'll have one. I just always use this niche as an example. Sure. Some people think I'm like using code for marijuana growing or whatever you want to think, because that used to be the code word for them. I never knew until somebody accused me of that. Yeah, they accused me of it. I was like, no, I'm not that smart, but that's cool to know. So yeah, you want to have nice topics. When I ran in the survival market, I would have like survival keywords, and then I would have like political keywords. And then, we know that the survivalists are looking at gold prices and silver prices. So we'd have, I called it precious gems, was my keyword category. So yeah, you want to have categories of keywords when it comes to YouTube and display. About 10 to 20 keywords per category.
Okay. Because that's where I think people, like, there's some confusion, because you'll hear people talk about, hey, you can now use what people searched last week and use that as your targeting in YouTube, but you really can't unless I'm missing something. I mean, you sort of can, because it's smart. They're using that data together. They're using the search data because they have it, but it's not like pay-per-click where you're bidding on a specific keyword that person's searching.
So I believe
chances are they may have, right?
I believe that's called a custom intent audience. Okay. I have not used it in in YouTube. I use channels,
Mm-hmm.
and I've done very well with channels. I've never needed to scale past that. I've never needed to go under that. If I wanted less, I would just use a few less channels. But there is in Google exists custom intent audiences, and a custom intent audience is what keywords did they once search.
Yeah.
So Google says, okay, all these people, they search this, which is great because now you get the quality level and the intent level. That's the thing that's really made Google so good, is when somebody types in tomato growing kit, the intent behind that is huge. They want to buy this thing. And so you can have that same level of intent, but knowing that this person is maybe a week after they did that search. You don't know. It could be 90 days after they did that search. Remember, they're always trying to sell you more impressions.
Right. Right. And that's where it's yeah. Okay. So, because when you start to get into some of the custom intent and some of the custom affinity stuff, it can get real broad, like real broad. And so,
and it can be real good, too.
Yeah.
It can go both ways, and so, yes, it's amazing. It's new. There's some really good stories coming out of it, but there's also some horror stories coming out of it. There's no magical, target or keyword. Everybody thinks there is. There's, man, if I just find this one secret keyword, my life will be good. No, it all comes down to testing. It's always testing.
Getting your offer, it's getting your creative and dialing that in and keeping them, starting safe and smaller and like with channels.
Yep.
And then slowly working your way out to some of these broader keywords, especially if the AI has data. Okay. And then just start to see, and you can overlay some of those affinities and stuff and so they're not so broad, but
right. Just keep your account real clean, be diligent, probably use half the budget you want to use. If you feel like you're comfortable with 100 a day, maybe go 50 a day, because you don't want to get so emotional that you start, pulling out or reacting, and so you're going to start with a one account. You're going to build your campaign. You're going to start with one ad. You're going to do that stumbling here. So what you want to do is you want to be feeding this pixel. You're training the pixel. Okay, when you want to think about when the account is new, that pixel's a little toddler. And then as you're building this campaign out, that pixel becomes a young child, a teenager, an adult, and you want to be training that pixel into a Harvard scholar. And that's when you can start doing all these different, things, custom intent, audiences, because now the algorithm really knows what your account is trying to achieve.
Okay. I like it. And then I think the only thing, I think maybe another question I have, what somebody asked the other day about some of the bidding. We were talking about some of the bidding, do you typically recommend, hey, start with a higher, maybe you've got whether your audience is small or large doesn't really matter, but you're starting maybe with a higher bid, like a manual bid, and then slowly working it down, or letting Google do its thing, or just kind of depends.
There are guys out there that are way smarter than me when it comes to the bidding. I've been doing the same thing for 15 years. It works for me. I start everything at $1, and then I see where I'm at. If I'm not getting any impressions, then I know I got to bid higher.
Yeah.
It gets a little crazy. I like to have systems. I like to have rules that I follow, and that helps me manage my risk. It helps me know that I'm going to do the same thing every time. It helps me know that I have a system that works and I can rely on, instead of having to come up with, okay, well, because I'm in this market, I'm going to use this bid, or because I'm selling this product. I mean, I don't like to be thinking that way. So I just start everything at $1. If I'm working with a really big pocket client, like if I'm working with one of the Agoras, I might start at a $250 bid. because they want lots of volume. They want to crush, they want to dominate. They're not, ROI is not their immediate focus. Scale is their immediate focus, and then they want to grow into ROI. So for those type of clients, I'll use higher. But I've always just started $1, and then I know if I need to go up or if I need to go down.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Let's see here. Is there anything else, like any aha moments you've had maybe, or Facebook lately or anything like that, or comparing the two or anything else on this stuff?
I would just tell people, have some confidence in these algorithms. They're getting really good. They're spending millions and millions of dollars, and they've been doing that for years, and they're getting really good, but they're not perfect. Okay, we don't have AI yet. Don't let anybody tell you we have AI yet. All we have is machine learning, and machine learning is essentially a guy who walks into the wall over and over again until he finds the doorway. Okay, so that's how smart AI is. But the thing is they can do that 80,000 times in 3 seconds. So they can find the door really quick. However, he banged his head 79,000 times. Don't forget that. So, but they are they are good, and they've found the doorway, 70 million times because there's 70 million advertisers, and so it is getting really, really good. Have confidence in it, but understand that the way that it works is, essentially a guy walking into the wall over and over again until he finds the doorway. And that's what I mean about training your pixel. Okay, your pixel is the guy walking into the wall. And so the more you train that pixel, the more he remembers. I walk into the room, I take 6 steps forward, I take 3 steps to the right, and I walk straight, and there's the door. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by training your pixel. The more you can keep your account clean, not running all these different offers in there, keep running the same offer. It's smart enough to run multiple offers. It's better to run one.
Okay.
But I realize if you sell 240 products, you don't need to have 240 accounts. Know that the pixel's smart enough. You just have to understand that this is how it works. It's training the pixel. The pixel becomes more and more intelligent the more sales information you give it. The other thing you can do is you can upload old conversions, and then it understands, it can add that data in. You're always, trying to teach the algorithm more about these are the people I'm trying to reach, so that as it gets smarter and smarter, you can widen your impressions and you're going to get more sales.
So if you upload old conversions, are you talking about uploading your customer list or
Yes.
or something different?
So like if you've been running on Facebook for a long time and you've got this customer list, when you move into a new Google account, there's something called offline conversions. And they built this for offline businesses. An offline business doesn't get to track a conversion like we do with our little free book offers and things like that. And so they have to, the way they train the pixel is every week they upload their customer list. And then Google understands, okay, these are the types of people they're looking for more of.
So because if you have a new account in Google, you can't do the customer match and the audiences unless you've got a certain 50,000 spend and a good standing and stuff. So this is different though, right? This is going to offline conversions and uploading your conversions, and you can do that with a new ad account.
I don't know if it changed yesterday or anything like that, but last time I did it, yes, I was able to do that.
Probably because all your it might not be. I'll have to look at that because I think
you're right. I do have an old account. I've run a lot of money through it.
Yeah, so we've been opening up some new accounts and stuff, and it's like, shit, you go to customer match and you can't do it, which is so weird because you think with a new account you'd want to give them. They're not doing it,
right.
But I think it's because maybe they're worried that people are, when they
people are abusing it, right?
Yeah.
They're buying lists, they're scraping lists,
and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's, but maybe there's another way to work around, but that's a big game changer if you can get that. And that's, I think, another reason why it's good to potentially, if you're just starting out, then maybe you find somebody that already has an agent account, potentially, maybe it's an agency or something like that.
It also speaks to the importance of an investment mindset in your ads, knowing that when you first start, that first $5,000 you're going to spend is going to be the worst $5,000 you're ever going to spend. So if it doesn't go as well as you would like it, know that the next $5,000 is going to go a little bit better. Why? Because your pixel is going to be a little bit better trained. You may have unlocked enough conversions so you can start uploading offline conversions, and so you're investing into the success of this pixel, of your account. What's my Google account worth to me right now? Probably $1 million.
Yeah.
It's 15 years old. It's got all this account history. It's spent millions of dollars. There's trained pixels. Because of my account, when I talk to a Google rep, it's different than somebody who just opened an account yesterday. I get a different level of respect. So that's a massive value there that people are so enamored with. I need to make $2 back from every dollar I spend, that they don't realize that there is massive value in the 5-year plan that you're doing, in the 1-year plan. And anyways, invest in your accounts, invest in your relationships with reps.
Yeah. And look at it that way. Like it's okay. People get so short-term and so impatient. It doesn't work. Yeah. Video ads don't work, or this doesn't work. Dude, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. You just haven't gotten it to work yet. You haven't gotten the right message.
They're trying to make it work in 1 week. I'm saying you need to, if you're not in this for a year, you probably shouldn't get in this.
Yeah.
I don't mean you can't be profitable in okay. I think once I was profitable in a week. I've been profitable a few times in 2 weeks, usually within 60 days. I'm very confident I can get somebody profitable in 60 days, ultra confident in 90 days, but that's the kind of mindset. If you're thinking a week, bro, you're going to get wrecked.
So what you just said there is probably the most important takeaway right there. I mean, the whole thing, because people, so you said, shoot, I got this stuff from this drink here, my throat. But you said, if you think you're going to have success in a week or 2 weeks, then, I mean, no. It's
very rare. I mean, I've run over 5,000 campaigns, and I'm telling you, I have one that was successful. It was like the only time I've ever ran a campaign and it was profitable right from the start. And it was an Agora. So that, it means it doesn't even count, because Agora is like at a whole different level than anybody. And then the profitable within 2 weeks, I've done it a few times, but that was after years of being in this business and being, at mastery level at this stuff. Ideally, I can get somebody profitable within 2 months, and very, very often I can have them profitable within 90 days. And I know that if they give me 90 days, I'm going to make it work.
Yeah, and that 90 days, like what? Now you have a system. Like you have something that's getting better over time, and it's like the time leverage when you have something like this compared to the hustle and grind of putting a new piece of content on social media every single day or 10 times a day. There's no comparison. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, but get this system, put the time in, then start to allocate more time into some of those other things. Okay. Awesome stuff, dude. This is super, super helpful.
So
sweet. Okay. AdSkills.com. All right, dude. Appreciate it. Awesome stuff. Super helpful. Go check his stuff out if you're watching this.